Hello, good Algebra 1 students. We are in the last lesson of our Unit 3 Discrete Function Syllabus, Tier 3, Lesson 2, Domain and Range, What is not a function? So let's check off our booklet. So the first thing when dealing with Lesson 2, Domain and Range, is what is not a function. Let's recall what the definition of a function is. Every x value has a unique y value, or in other words, for every x value there is only one y value, or one f of x value, or one output. So we're going to come back and explore this therefore here in just a second. So let's come down here and take a peek at some stuff. So here we have our inputs, 1, 2, and 3. And here we have our outputs, 7, 10, and 13. Well, if we map this, our 1 output 7, our 2 outputs 10, and our 3 output 13. So for every x value, there is only one unique y value, so this is definitely a function. Let's come over here and map this one. Input, well, there's only one, and it's 1. That's the only input we have. Outputs, we have 3, we have 5, and we have 4. Those are our outputs. Let's map it. 1 goes to 3, 1 also goes to 5, and 1 also goes to 4. So for every input in this situation, there were 3 outputs. So this is definitely not a function. Doesn't follow the definition. Let's look at a graph and how that works. Here's a function on a graph. Here's our x values. Here's our y values. So if we come to like 5 and we come up to the graph, it hits the line in one specific spot. If we go at 10 and come up on the graph, it hits the line in one specific spot. Therefore, this is a function. This is not a function because if I come at 1 and I come up the graph, ooh, there's 2 dots at 1. And just by definition, that cannot be a function. And if you look, there's a couple more places. There's 2 dots at 2, there's 2 dots at 4, there's 2 dots at 5. So this thing right here is definitely not a function because it has more than one output for every input. So what can we use as a real quick check of a function on a graph? We can use something called the vertical line test. And it's as simple as it sounds. The vertical line test is a way to determine if a relationship or relation is a function. The vertical line test states that if a vertical line intersects the graph of a relation more than once, then that relation is not a function. So let's come up here and revisit this, like I said earlier. So therefore, if any particular x value has 2 different y values, then a vertical line will intersect the graph at 2 different places. This right here, that right there is the vertical line test. That's the VLT, vertical line test. All right, let's come back down here and take a look. Now, we do have to be very careful with the vertical line test because if someone accidentally takes the dependent variable and puts it on the x-axis, then the vertical line test is no longer valid. It only works when the independent variable is placed on the x-axis and the dependent variable is placed on the y-axis. So if the dependent variable and independent variable are placed on the incorrect axis, then the vertical line test loses its relativity. We'll do an example in class as a mini session to kind of go over this. Congratulations for completing the booklet. Good luck on your quiz and practice set.